Hello, my beautiful friends and my fellow wild dreamers and sparkly space blobs. Welcome back to our little moment that we take every single week to explore some topic, some idea. This week it is the Capricorn Full Moon. And when I tell you I need this big energy in my life, I really mean it. And I think so many of us right now are needing the centering power of this full moon to kind of come in and help us really clarify and center, because this full moon is all about finding our home address, finding our center, really feeling that in the context of this wild new world that we are living in. Right? Because even in the last 6 months, just in this first half of the year before this full moon, we have changed radically. Our foundations have changed. Our innate sense of like what's important and what we're going to focus on have shifted. And this is a really helpful full moon to clear out anything we are not going to be carrying with us in the coming months, as well as really getting familiar with what our centered new home address. And when I say home address, it kind of goes back to that Cancer new moon conversation we had about connecting to the essence. That home address of what's really important to us, that centered feeling of peace. The other part of this full moon, it's very visionary. We're going to be getting a lot of ideas and downloads coming, but many of those ideas are things that are going to take time. They are going to require a process. It's not going to be about immediate gratification. We are working with earth energy, and earth energy is very interested in process. So remembering that anything that's coming in right now, we are going to have to hold the vision for a while and show, and the path is going to need to show itself to us. But anyway, I want to get into the depths of this conversation with you all. And hopefully by the end of this chat, you'll be feeling some of the really powerful beauty of working with Capricorn specifically, and this full moon that's really at the center of the calendar year. And hopefully we will move through this in a beautiful way. I know right now we are needing all the moments of peace and centering we can have. It's so important for our systems, for our spirits, for our bodies. So let's get into it. This is a really crystalline full moon. There aren't a lot of aspects going on with this full moon. We're really focusing on that sun in Cancer and that moon in Capricorn in that opposition, illuminating the life path and really allowing that Capricorn energy to speak to us at a time when I think many of us are needing that deep, soulful guidance, clarity, and intuition to move through. And so often Capricorn isn't associated with intuition. You know, it's kind of associated with realism and the mundane and the material and like this practicality that has no spiritual essence to it. And there is that quality to it. Capricorn does want that centered foundational energy and is very interested in the process of step by step how something can be made and created, that it's possible to make something from nothing via this experience of being in a body and moving step by step through something. But Capricorn is also highly intuitive, because what Capricorn asks us to do is come back home to ourselves and really hear what's important, what's valuable, and how to direct our ship when it comes to the mundane, when it comes to what the next step is, in a really clear, grounded way. And that can be really helpful at a time when we are living through these huge waves of change. And we're changing internally every single day. We're moving through a lot of emotional depths. We're integrating huge new waves of energy in the world. We're asking different questions about what our communities are going to look like, what our life paths are going to look like. All of that energy is moving right now. And this Cancer season is asking so many of us to do some deep digging and some deep feeling. This Capricorn new moon is like this clear North Star. It's not the North Star, it's the moon. But you get what I'm saying. It's this very clear voice that comes through and says, here's what's important, here's what's valuable, here's what we need to listen to. And the real strength of Capricorn is the ability to hold a vision, hold an idea, hold a project, even if it's going to take several years to enact, and step by step move through it. And know that each of those little steps has deep value in and of itself. And that kind of practical mundane is actually quite magical and can help us move through times of turbulence and stress. The other thing I want to say about Capricorn and this kind of Saturn ruled energy that is about inner fathering, inner parenting, is that so often it will get interpreted as kind of like we have to have really good discipline and self-discipline and make it through the day. And I know for me, I've had many run-ins with that kind of inner parenting in my life, and it always leads to me feeling very tired and disheartened and uninspired. And I think a really beautiful quality of Capricorn energy is actually that the kind of stewardship and centering that Capricorn brings in is one that has a voice that sounds kind of like this, at least to me, and each of us is going to have our own interpretation, but this centered inner parent that knows that the stewardship and the step-by-step and the slow curated process of moving through life says, okay, life is changing. That's true. And we can handle that. We can look for the ingredients together. We can start to weave ingredients together. We can make adjustments. We can cry our eyes out and then go drink a glass of water. We can choose wisely today how we're going to interact with our day. We can also bring ourselves into imagined versions that feel right for us. We can also choose to steward our imagination and care for it in a way that is centered. And that centering energy, wow, that is leadership, right? And like whenever I get that voice going inside of myself, my day goes so much better. And that leads me into also this full moon. It's a full moon after all, right? And full moons every month are about that shedding, that checking in, that release quality to it that we do every single month. And this full moon is really going to be helping many of us notice where we're trying to make things happen, forcing things to manifest, worrying over how we're going to get from here to there, anywhere where we're feeling split, like I want to have this thing, but I'm not allowed to have it, or where we are trying to just like push our way through. Those things are going to be highlighted during this full moon. Those elements where we're trying to push through, make happen, hold ourselves tight until we can get through it, are going to really be highlighted during this time. It's also going to be, I think, a full moon where anything that doesn't feel like that home address, where it just feels a little bit off, a little bit heavy, a little bit cumbersome, a little bit like this just doesn't fit who I am becoming in the context of this very rapidly changing energetic and physical world, is going to really be illuminated. And sitting with that can be a lot of information to take in. But once again, what's beautiful with Capricorn is it's like, oh yeah, we are no longer interested in pursuing this path or forcing this kind of activity through. But Capricorn is also very good at coming in and saying, okay, then how do we want to step? Maybe we'll take a step in this direction because it feels good. And I know I can put one foot on that path. And also I want to say here, this is a very visionary full moon in the sense that as we're realizing, oh, that's not my home address anymore. I've changed so much just in the last few months, just in the course of the first half of this year. I'm realizing now that I have a completely different vision from what I had even a couple of months ago. That we are also going to be getting a lot of ideas about what's next. They're going to take time to enact. I've already mentioned this, but I think it's an important detail. There's a process at work here, and Capricorn and Earth energy in general helps us to enact that very slowly, utilizing the experience of time to create new things. So even if you're getting visions that feel like there's no way that's going to happen this month, that's okay. Give yourself a breath, because some of these visions are going to be things that take time. And when we try to rush them and try to force them to happen within a couple of months, often we're actually slowing down our process. So the more we can kind of relax into, oh, this is going to be about curating. It's going to be about step by step. It's going to be about taking little actions. It's going to be about stewarding that ship moving forward from this centered place. That's a beautiful message that I think this full moon is going to be bringing. And I need that message because I have so many visions coming through about what I want life to look like. And I know it's not going to happen tomorrow, next month, even by the end of this year. It's not going to be here for me and for the world as well. Visions I'm holding for the world, including, more peaceful interactions and different leadership and all of that. It's like, those are visions I have to hold for a little while. I have to be able to steward myself through this season together with all of you. So I think that message is going to be so, so helpful at this time. The other thing I want to say, just contextualizing this full moon, because it is a very potent full moon, is that we are working with a ton of energy at 0, 1, and 2 degrees of various signs, because this year we have had a whole bunch of big planets shift signs. Saturn, Neptune has shifted into Aries. Jupiter shifted into Cancer. And just a couple of days before this full moon, Uranus shifted into Gemini for the first time since the 1940s. So this is also a full moon that is kind of like holding court during a time when we are working with that rebirthing energy that is so big right now. And it can feel a little bit intimidating, right? When we're working with this kind of new world energy that is moving through, because it can feel like it's a huge mess. It can feel like we are going backwards. It can feel like, what the heck is going on? How do I even work with this? It can feel like it's unclear. It can even feel a little bit disorienting at times. There's a lot moving through. Let's just acknowledge that. There continues to be a lot moving through. There have been for months. It continues to happen. And I think that this full moon is helping us just find that center in the context of so much newness. Life has to change, I think so many of us are realizing like, oh, I'm not going to want to live in the same lifestyle I would have lived in 2015 or 2019. I'm not going to want the same community or the same focus or the same foundations that I thought were serving me then and were probably serving me then. I'm realizing my life has to change in a profound way, and that we're all kind of, I think, coming to grips with that there's a change afoot. And some of those changes are really, really beautiful. Some of them are very challenging. Some of them require a lot of courage. Some of them require sitting with scary things. Obviously, all of that's going on. But I also think that that's why that voice that Capricorn is so good at, which is step by step, we walk toward that new vision with these new waves of energy. So there is a very calm, centered quality to working with this Capricorn full moon. I just adore Capricorn energy when I get to work with it in this way. A few years ago, we were working with all this energy in Capricorn. We had like South Node in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn. You remember that? It was a handful of years ago that we were really working with Capricorn in this very intense way where we were learning really hard lessons. And in fact, I think culturally, we're still incorporating all we learned about Capricorn in those years. Any Capricorns out there? You know what I'm talking about. You probably felt that very deeply. But working with Capricorn in this moon sense and working with the wisdom we gained from those years, there's this real understanding of how to find center again, how to find our home frequency again, how to find our true visions that aren't what we think we're supposed to be. And also that mundane day-to-day stewardship and the divine magic of it. It's so easy to lose sight of how powerful the small moments of the day-to-day are for holding big vision. Like, they're really, really one and the same. They're deeply integrated with each other. And it's just, I don't know. How are you feeling? How is this Capricorn season or this Cancer season feeling? How are you feeling as we move into this Capricorn full moon? I really love hearing your process, how it's moving for you. I know for me, I am feeling very overwhelmed because I have that sense in myself of like, oh, life can't stay the same. Life cannot stay the same. Like, I don't want to be living in a big city anymore. I just have longings for different things inside of myself and in my lifestyle. And wow, trying to incorporate all that in the context of also all the world's questions. The Ace of Swords came out in our cards today. Beautiful. beautiful. There is this quality. There is this quality that I pick up on when I'm sitting here with this Capricorn full moon that is very much about the beauty of visions, the caring of visions. Capricorn's a very caring energy, very caring about its community and foundation and connections and how we steward the ship, how we steward the land, how we steward the process. And Ace of Cups is a beautiful visionary energy. And I think it's so easy right now to say, oh, that's silly to dream in those ways. It's silly to think of peaceful, beautiful things. It's silly to dream of community. But I think it's so crucial right now. And I think many of us have come to that conclusion over and over again. And Ace of Cups is about those ever renewing, beautiful visions coming forward and meeting us. And the Hierophant. So interesting. It was just what I was saying about, you know what? I want to pull a third card. It was just what I was saying about the connection between that foundational day-to-day small action energy and the big vision and how intertwined they are during this full moon. And always, but it's highlighted here. The energetics of that, the way that those inform each other are so highlighted during this full moon. The future and the present are so deeply interlinked at all times with each other through the small mundane that we live. And the Knight of Wands. Okay, we are on a ride here with these three cards. Quite different energies, but I think it brings me back around to that centered quality of the Hierophant here, because we have the big visioning of the Ace of Cups, the renewing vision of what is next, how beautiful new beginnings are calling to so many of us. We're going to be feeling it in that center, that home feeling of center. Like our homing frequency is just going to be on, and we're going to be feeling those inspirations, those visions coming through. And we're invited to experience those visions through the energy of the Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant is about establishment. It is about the foundation. It is about like established spiritual experiences and tradition and all of those things. It's a very loaded card with many, many layers to it that I will not be able to address in this reading. But what I notice in the context of the Hierophant being surrounded here by these dreamy, visionary, playful energies is that we're working on building new foundations in the world and in ourselves that are honoring of the process, honoring of creating beauty in the world. And that, the Hierophant is also slow and steady. It's about what foundations are we working toward building right now? Are they reflecting what's important to us, what we value, where we want to go, where we want to be headed? Is it taking care of my spirit, my energy field, and my body? Is it reflecting what I'm really wanting to be doing? It's really a moment of thinking about that. The other side of the Hierophant is a reminder that to give our power away to the established authority figures, whether that be in a spiritual sense or in a societal sense, is never required. The Hierophant teaches us that we can always come back to our home signal. We don't have to give that energy away to anybody else. We have to take our seat at the table of our life and enter into our own foundational knowing. And that leads me into the Knight of Wands, which is a very impulsive energy. Let's say that. Let's put it that way. This is an energy that is just ready to go right now, which I think is so interesting because Hierophant's about slow and steady building. And even the Ace of Cups, I would say, is about visions coming in that we realize we'll have to steward into reality. And the Knight of Wands is like, let's just do this right now. Like, tomorrow, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to start that new website. I'm going to quit this. I'm going to burn that bridge and move forward because I'm just ready for the new life to be yesterday, right? That's the energy of the Knight of Wands, which honestly, I'm here for it. I'm a fire sign. I got lots of fire in my chart. But I think it's a reminder that there will be this sense of urgency, this longing to just go for it and do it and make it happen. Let's go, go, go. And I think it's, holding both of these things at once, the urgency, the longing, the excitement, the clarity, the aha, I realize this is important to me and I don't want to carry this any longer. And I'm feeling my center alight with what I know I need, and the urgency of that mixed with remembering that it will probably take a little bit of time and we'll probably just need to hold all of that at this time and give that Knight of Wands a little bit of expression in some way, whether that's through journaling, vision boarding, dancing around, coming up with a little bit of a small action plan for the next few days, whatever it might be. With that in mind, if you are looking to do a little practice with me, I'm going to be doing a very kind of a little ritual for this full moon over on my Wild Dreaming community on Patreon, where we're going to be offering up whatever we no longer want to carry with us and releasing anything we've been trying to force through, and really offering it up to the great divine to hold and to feel ourselves release into our next visions. So I'm going to be walking us through that practice over on my Patreon. Also, we are in the midst of working with trickster energy in my Wild Dreaming at the Crossroads journey that is going on all of June, July, and August. Every single Friday, I am discussing a different aspect of these various archetypes: exiles, tricksters, and fools. And July is all about tricksters. And we are working with how we recognize the trickster in ourselves and the trickster in the world, and how we return to our intuition through connecting with trickster energy. So if you are looking for an inspiring, powerful place to do surrealist art practices, journaling, free writing, exploring yourself and the subconscious, the nonlinear, the nonverbal in a way that's really, really empowering and very magical and intuitive, I highly recommend coming over to Patreon. I have so many resources there available to watch at your own time and speed. It's a fantastic community and I'd love to have you there. I also love it when you subscribe, and I want to know what's coming up for you this Cancer season, how you're feeling, how the process is moving with you. So let me know in the comments what's been moving with you, how you're experiencing this time. I love to read all of your comments, and I will see you back here very, very soon for our next chat. We have so much energy to work with in the coming weeks, and we have a lot to explore together. So I will see you back here so very, very soon.